I'm stat of the day.
You are stat of the day.
Dude, I have Nathan Peterman stats. I'm sure you guys saw the clip, but
yeah.
I'm really excited about it.
All right.
I didn't see the article, but
Okay,
I know
cool.
he's the shittiest quarterback statistically in the.
I have 3 of them, so we're good.
Oh, sweet.
Are we ready to start?
Huh?
Are we ready to start?
Well, we
Yeah,
gotta
but
think
I'm
of
still
our,
trying to think of
we
if
gotta
you
think
could
of our
be
goat thing.
the goat of something. What would you be?
Shoe shining.
You want to be the greatest shoe shiner?
Absolutely.
I don't know. I've been really into this hunting show, and I want to say I'd be like the greatest sharpshooter. But
Well, does it have
I
to
don't
be
want to like kill people.
Does it have to be like a skill, or can it be like a attribute or something, like something that you're really
Like what?
like strong, fast, you can jump really high, something like that.
Yeah, you'd be the strongest man.
I don't know. I'm not spoiling the beans or spilling the beans. I feel
Just spill the beans. I don't think we're gonna do it because I can't think.
I
of
can't think of anything right now. You put me on the spot, man.
I feel like it'd be really cool to be the fastest person. Like you
Ooh,
just dust everybody.
That would be.
It doesn't excite me that much.
Fuck
I would
yeah.
just- I'd want to
could
be
do- think
in
of
the
all the
I'd want to
things-
be an Olympian. So I'd want to be the greatest Olympian of all time, I guess. Whatever that means.
No, that doesn't work.
It's too hard of a question. The options are unlimited.
Well, that's the thing. You
I
just
wanna be the
pick.
best.
You just pick one random one, and even if it's not really your best pick, you're just like throwing it out there just so we start talking about it.
But it's like, you'd want to be, say you're the best athlete, like best baseball player.
That would just make me
Yeah.
sad, though.
Why would it make you sad?
Baseball bums me out.
Why? Because the Padres
What?
suck, or
No.
Why does baseball bum you out?
Baseball bums me out.
Why?
Well, just because all the guys that I played with are still currently playing professionally. Sucks.
Well, if you were the greatest of all time, you'd be with them.
That bums me out.
you could be. How about what if we made it? If there was a sport you could be the greatest at, what would it be?
All right.
Golf, done. I don't know why I didn't think of that before.
All right. I'm good with that.
Thanks for simplifying that, Brandon. See?
I don't even know what my answer. I don't know what my answer
What would
is.
your answer be? What would you?
I don't know what my answer would be. I'm still not trying to think of it, but
Skateboarding.
it's not really a sport. But I mean, it's in the Olympics now.
I would
You
say
you
it's
said
a-
it, not me.
I would say it's a sport.
I think it's a sport.
It's competitive. Anything that's competitive to me is a sport.
Yeah, but the true passion's not in the actual sport. I don't know.
But you love skateboarding.
I know, but it's not like I've never really skated competitively.
Mm.
It's like
Okay.
you know what I'm saying. It's more of
Yeah.
like a.
What would yours
hobby.
be?
It'd be like if you.
I'd want to be the greatest golfer of all time.
Okay.
After
Well, I
you
get to
said
talk first.
I get to talk first.
I said it first. Dibs.
No, we're just gonna have a playoff.
All right, fine.
Tiger Mickelson.
Tiger Mickelson.
Like Arnold Palmer.
Dibs on Tiger.
Sure. I mean, you're part Japanese, so it makes sense.
You want to be Phil?
Not really. Dustin Johnson.
Or you could be.
I hate Phil Mickelson.
could-
dude.
you
Like,
could-
he drives me nuts.
You could be the white Tiger Woods.
Oh my-
God. We were cracking up about that. My dad listened to it and he goes, "Could he not think of a single
I
white
know, right?
golfer? Like the entire
95% of them.
That just shows you how big Tiger is to the sport, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like somebody who doesn't watch golf at all, the first one that comes to mind is Tiger Woods.
Dude, he's their viewership went up crazy. I feel like we're getting a lot of good information that we could be putting on the pod right now, though.
All right, well, let's start the show.
Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Lights, camera, action.
What's up, everybody? Episode 23, the GOAT episode.
The GOAT.
So every time I start the show, I always say, "What's up, guys?"
Yeah, I was gathering.
And do you guys ever remember that in the 90s, the "What's up?"
Oh my god. The Scream face mask?
Yeah.
That was, what was that, Scary Movie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Dude, my dad and my grandpa used to do that all the time when during the late 90s or whenever that came out. And "What's up?"
yeah, it's so funny.
Oh,
What's
man.
up?
But yeah, anyways, there was we had a big week last week. We did last Tuesday as well as this Tuesday.
Yep.
Ryan and I, we did a little golf thing on the Thursday that we usually record. I had to pick up Sarah on Wednesday. She's back and she's doing good now.
Nice.
Jet lag didn't hit her nearly as hard as I thought it was going to, so
Sweet.
it's good. Then Brandon, was your anniversary. You guys went to dinner.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
It's good. Went to Donovan's Steakhouse and it was in La Jolla and nice, romantic evening.
Yeah.
So good time
Very
out.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
How was the
food
links
was-
though? I saw it on your Instagram.
Dude, it was so
but-
fun.
It was so much fun,
It was
dude.
so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw like little bits of it. So they have like little. They have
So,
holes on the field, right? Or
Yeah, so for the listeners that don't know what the links at Petco Park is, it's a links is kind of like a golf term. So basically what they did was they turned the outfield at Petco Park into little plot size greens. And you would stand in different locations in the stands and you'd chip down trying to hit closest to the pin. There was about 9 pins spread out between the outfield. I don't know what, like a 3-yard or like circle around the pin.
Yeah.
So the scoring was if you hit it in the hole, obviously it's a hole in one stroke. If you get it inside the pin, a birdie or 2 strokes. And
inside
then,
the
inside the
it was a
circle,
birdie,
yeah, around the pin, and then the outside plot was par, and then
Yeah.
outside of that, but
so where were you teeing off at?
Like one of them was on top of the Western Metal Building, another one from left field over by like on the top, like the top
Yeah.
level,
you know where they have like the college nights up
Yeah.
there, yeah, up by that
Like the
area.
really shitty seats.
and then the one where they have all the where they used to have the Tony Gwynn statue. Was it?
Wait, Tony.
No,
Gwynn's
not
statue.
that far back.
No, it's
No,
where
no.
they first put it when it was in the stadium, where it was up by
Oh,
the flags in right
yeah,
field.
yeah.
That little gap in between right field, the foul pole, and in fair play.
Mhm.
There's that little like area where they have all the flags for all the teams in the
Yeah.
National League.
Yeah, and you hit by like underneath
by the Budweiser.
It was trippy
sign
though,
up there.
man. Like
it was
the-
really hard to gauge the
and, like,
distance.
and like a couple of the holes, like because you're on a rafter, like essentially,
Yeah.
and it looks like because when you're swinging, your weight goes to your back foot, and then when you're following through, the weight goes to your front foot. So I was like, dude, I feel like I'm gonna fly off the edge of these buildings every time I'm coming forward.
Yeah, I don't know. My favorite hole was you got to hit from home plate. So you're standing at home plate and you hit towards center field, and there was like a pin way out there. That one was it was just cool to stand at home
Yeah.
plate
I
and
was-
look around the stadium and be like, man,
Awkwardly,
this is awesome.
like not as satisfying to hit
Not
the
it.
ball over the fence
Oh.
because it's not far.
No. So I had a 52 degree or something like that,
Yeah.
which is basically like a pitching wedge. And I didn't hit it very hard, and that thing just got out of town. And I was like, oh shit, these guys.
Yeah, no, it was like obviously it was a little satisfying. I got to the point where I can't hit off of turf at all. Like it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And so I was just trying to hit it as far as I could. So I was like literally like teeing off into the stands.
Yeah, but it was so much fun.
And like
dude.
there was different holes that were dedicated to different things. There was the one where you're hitting from the bullpen or outside the bullpen was the Trevor Hoffman hole. So like whoever got closest got memorabilia, but we all got memorabilia.
Yeah,
for it.
it was like a ball or a book or something like that, a
Nice.
little coffee table book.
How much was it?
In total?
Just like
Or-
for
It was like
for
70
each
a
of you.
person.
Yeah, it
70
was like
person.
85 or something
Was
like
it?
that. Yeah, but I mean, it was fun. It was Ryan and I and both of our dads.
Yeah,
And,
it was a blast.
It was just a really good time.
Yeah.
And it was a perfect day. We went early, teed off at like 7:30 and finished around 9:30 or something
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah, it was 9 holes. And you're taking your time. You're walking around.
yeah,
There's a caddy with you the whole time, like telling you, where to hit the ball to, and he was pretty cool.
yeah.
Um,
Get a bunch of swag at the
yeah,
end.
it was a fun experience. Definitely want to do that again.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I finished off the weekend. It was my cousin's wedding. So that was a lot of fun. Got to just see that side of the family and stuff. And there was actually a guy that I went to, it was like middle school with. That was my cousin's boyfriend.
Is that the guy that followed us?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, it was really cool just to see him again. Gary Isaacson. I don't know if he's listening again, but dude, that kid's is a semi-pro golfer. I was talking to him a little bit during. He said he was gonna, challenge for the tour on at least by next year or something. So, I mean, the kid's
Good for him,
stroking.
man. That's awesome.
It was
Nice.
fun.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah, I told him we did the links, and he was just like, "Man, it looks really fun." I showed him some pictures and whatnot. But
I did have the best shot of the day. I mean, closest to the hole. I wouldn't necessarily call it the best shot.
that's right. So
It was the
uh,
closest on the field the entire time we were there.
Yeah. So it was like a shot where you're in left field and you're hitting right below the scoreboard, and it was, I don't know, all of them were about 110.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
all
I think it
yeah.
maxed out at 140, but that was like a...
That was like
it
the one from home
It
plate.
didn't hit from 140. It hit like more like an 80-yard.
Yeah. But like, so the farthest was like 110 or whatever, and there was a sand trap below. And like Ryan said, he has a hard time hitting off turf. Like, it's just not as natural feeling for him. Mm-hmm. So he totally topped the ball and scuffed it like on a front line drive.
It went straight into the sand trap, but it went through the sand and rolled right next to the hole.
He hit it so hard that it went through the sand.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't
die
at all.
Like, normally when you hit it into the sand, it just kind of sits there. But I hit it so hard that it went through the sand.
So hard and so
up.
much topspin. It was like a tire just...
I get what you're saying.
It was incredible. It was just like,
started
what
off
the
good.
hell just happened? All right, well, let's get into it. NFL Week 10. I want to start off first here with just a little bit of news and awards and stuff like that, things that happened in Week 10. The first thing was the Saints signed Dez Bryant, and I know we were all excited, think that was a really interesting move. What were your guys' initial thoughts?
It makes sense. They're pretty depleted at wide receiver. Michael Thomas is a guy that can do everything. He can run deep. He can catch the ball over the middle. And Dez Bryant plays similar. And it's been a long time since he's had somebody that can get him the ball. So I was excited to see him play with Drew Brees. You know, see what talent he had left.
Mm-hmm. For me personally, I was happy for Dez. I mean, he's definitely a head case, but the guy's overcome a lot to get to the NFL.
Yeah, and he's overcome a lot in the NFL.
His mom was I think a prostitute, and he had he came from a pretty dark upbringing. And was able to get himself up and was.
I hope he has another opportunity.
Yeah, he's one of the elite receivers in the league, and now
so leads to the second part of that news. He later tore his ACL later in
Achilles.
that week.
It was Achilles.
It was
Achilles, yeah.
Tore his Achilles. And that kind of sucked. He was on the team for 3 days or something?
Not even. It was the first day of practice.
Yeah,
I think it was 3 days after he got signed, 2 or 3 days after he got signed, first day of practice. To go down like that after you struggled so long and you were battling with, Jerry Jones and the Cowboys kind of disrespecting you a little bit. And
absolutely.
Trying to get back in the league.
Your heart goes out to him, and the Achilles too. Just you're not gonna get that same spring back, especially as a receiver.
And he's getting older too. I mean, it's a bummer. I mean, I hope he's not done just for the sake of nobody wants to see a guy go out like that. It was gonna be nice to see him, possibly get a run at a Super Bowl again. kind of redeem himself for the catch that wasn't a catch back in the playoffs when they played the Packers, which now would be a catch. So. I mean, he like you said, he was an elite receiver at one point. You like to see those guys go out there, and obviously, like Brandon said, a head case. But what wide receiver's not?
Yeah. But I mean, it didn't look like the Saints even needed him this week. I mean, we'll get more into what happened in Week 10.
Saints are good.
Yeah. And then other big news that happened. Well, sticking with the Saints, they now signed Brandon Marshall, another big-bodied receiver. Obviously, I don't think as talented as Dez Bryant, but
he's older
too. Same mind.
I like Brandon Marshall quite a bit. He was
just because he has the same name as you. I get it.
No, he was one of my favorite receivers back. In the
he's elite, man. I remember that game he played with the Broncos where he broke the record for most receptions in a game.
18 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah, he's a talent too. I think Dez Bryant just would have complemented Michael Thomas a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So again, they definitely they're hurting at the wide receiver position as far as depth goes. So you can look. They're just trying to add a veteran presence to them.
They do have arguably the best running back tandem in the NFL with Gurley and Ingram to lean on too.
You mean Kamara?
Kamara. Yeah.
And then also earlier this week, or late last week, whatever you want to call it, Nate Peterman was released by the Bills.
Took about time.
Took long enough. I know, Ryan, you had some Nate Peterman stats for us, or you're saving those for the end?
We'll get to it.
All right.
God. That poor guy.
Dude.
He deserves it, though.
You know, they always say consistency is key, but when you're consistently bad, that's not a good thing either.
No, I mean, and it sucks too because a lot of people, you've seen Brock Osweiler go through the ringer, and now he's a backup quarterback who's currently starting for the Dolphins. You've seen it with Case Keenum. You've seen it several quarterbacks across the board where they earn an opportunity to be a backup quarterback in the NFL. Yeah. Nobody's touching this guy with a 10-foot pole.
Well, did you guys see that GoFundMe page that a Bills fan started?
I saw
that. Was pretty funny.
You sent us
I
the
sent
link
you the
too.
link. Yeah, I was like, go donate.
And it was just funny because it was almost like the organization was like, we drafted this guy. Like, we got to see it through. And it's like, dude, stop. Cut your losses. He wasn't a first-round pick. cut your losses.
Yeah.
What round was he taken in?
I think 4th.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like after the 3rd, you're kind of those are high upside guys, maybe depth position players.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been a 3rd. I mean, I'm not even going to take the time to look it up because
he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. He doesn't.
Yeah. And then, war record set this week. Todd Gurley became the 4th person with a touchdown in 13 straight games. That was pretty impressive.
Gurley's a stud.
That's just incredible. And then you had Larry Fitzgerald passed Terrell Owens, T.O., on the 2nd all-time career receiving yards list. That was pretty incredible. I definitely think
Larry Fitzgerald
deserves that. Super humble, respectful guy, man.
He's like one of the few receivers that are not a diva, and you can just count on him. He's going to keep his head down. He's going to make the right plays.
I was a little worried.
Like glue.
I was a little worried he wasn't going to get it because he's played with good quarterbacks for the majority of his career. I mean, he went Kurt Warner for a pretty good chunk, and then he got Carson Palmer. I mean, Kurt Warner's obviously a Hall of Fame quarterback. Carson Palmer's not quite that, but he throws for a lot of yards.
He gets the ball. He puts up decent stats.
Yeah,
but
I was a little worried with having a rookie quarterback there that it wasn't going to happen for him just because they were going to lean too much on David Johnson. I know he wasn't far off, but I was like,
still, it was you never knew.
Yeah.
And then Frank Gore, man, I feel like Frank Gore doesn't deserve the respect doesn't get the respect he deserves. I mean, he's been in the league for a really long time, and this is the 14th season he's had 500 rushing yards. Like,
that's crazy.
14 season to rush. I mean,
and he's a running back.
As a run, yeah,
and he's incredible. He hasn't been a starter for the last several years too.
Yeah, he still runs like a tank though.
Yeah.
I just feel bad for Kenny and Drake because they're like totally just giving Gore the ball still all the time. I'm like, hey, there's fresh legs behind him.
It's right there.
The other one too that I don't know if we had gotten on this was the Le'Veon Bell.
Ooh, that's right. As of today,
the Le'Veon, he's officially done for the year.
That's true. All right, let me finish up the awards or the records, and we'll get to Le'Veon. Nick Chubb for the Browns, 92-yard run, longest run in Browns franchise history.
Yeah.
That was incredible. Julio Jones became the quickest receiver to 10,000 yards. Only took him 104 games. I mean, that's beastly. That's incredible. And then Drew Brees, he's just having a record season. 509 touchdowns becomes the second most in a career.
I mean, I think it speaks to the longevity and, being able to stick. I mean, obviously we know he was a Charger, but the majority of his career has been with the Saints. To be in an organization for as long as he's been and to, work with Sean Payton that entire time.
And to continually play at such a high level.
I mean, he's 40 years old, so he's not playing like he's 40. I mean, you guys saw with Peyton Manning, like that dude, he was elite one year and then
it just fell off a cliff the next.
And obviously he had a different sort of injury, but it was still just as severe, I think.
I mean, it's hard to say. Peyton's was a neck.
Yeah.
Brees was a shoulder. I mean, it's obviously different because it's the throwing arm, but I just don't think anybody thought he was going to come back come back from it. So to come back from it and win a Super Bowl and now to be breaking all of these records set by phenomenal quarterbacks. I mean, he's a for sure Hall of Famer, and finally, I feel like this year getting some of the respect he deserves.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, like you mentioned, let's get into this Le'Veon Bell news. His Tuesday today was the day that he had to show up by to qualify and play with the season. He didn't show up. Means he's not playing. Means he lost
$14.5 million.
$14.5 million.
Jeez, I seriously think.
Dude, I'll show up anywhere you give me $14.
I seriously think he needs to fire his agent. They totally mismanaged the situation.
I think so too, because
I think a lot of it's him too, though.
I don't know the exact terms of his deal, and I don't know exactly what's going on with it. But I heard somewhere that if he doesn't show up, they still have the option to franchise tag him for a third year.
They can. They won't because it's going to pay him way too much money. Yeah. It'll pay him almost double that.
I mean, just because that would be messed up anyway.
Well, not only that, and James Conner's killing it too.
Yeah. Well, and I think, besides James Conner, you're looking at, Todd Gurley, Alvin Kamara, Melvin Gordon, who are all putting up, Le'Veon Bell type numbers in the rushing and receiving. Sorry, Kareem Hunt as well. Obviously not like as much of a focal point in the passing game, but still there.
Yeah.
And it's hurting his case big time. I mean,
the
Steelers are more successful right now with James Conner than they were in the past with Le'Veon Bell. And at the beginning of the year, I was all for it, and all of these running backs are showing out. And I guarantee, Todd Gurley already signed his deal. Melvin Gordon's going to be the next one.
If I'm his agent, I'm letting him hold out for a little bit, and if I see James Conner having this type of success, I'm like, you need to get back in there because he's stealing your job. And if you take an entire year off, people are going to forget about you, and you're not going to get that great deal.
Well, that's the only thing that is good about his agent is that he's keeping him relevant.
I will say that.
That's true, but you're not going to talk about him until
he's definitely not going to get the money now that he could have wanted, I guess. Because but
he might get the years that he wanted.
Yeah.
I feel like
I think that's more or less
sitting out a year is not helping his cause, though.
Yeah, if I'm and he's losing a year out of his prime. And he's got to make back that $14.5 million that he just lost this year.
I don't worry as much now just because of the way that football is changing and these players are aging a lot better than they used to.
That's true.
It's a year of fresh legs, and I'll give that to him. Yeah. But again, you're looking at a player that you're 28 next year, 27, 28 next year. Mm-hmm. So you're going to give him 6 years, so you're going to pay him into his 30s. It's just not a great investment.
Yeah.
From a football standpoint. And like I said, especially when you're seeing players like Melvin Gordon, Todd Gurley, Alvin Kamara and Kareem Hunt were not first-round picks, by the way.
And that's the other thing with Le'Veon Bell is even if he does go to a different team, that's another offseason learning a new offense, learning different schemes, getting back into football shape because football shape's different than no matter how hard you train.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I think we saw a similar situation with DeMarco Murray when he was with the Cowboys. When he left and went to Philadelphia, he struggled. It's hard to learn a new system, and the system that he's in right now is built for success. And you see that right now with James Conner. James Conner is obviously playing. I won't say anything bad about him, that he's a phenomenal player. But it does seem like every running back that they put in that offense is successful.
Yeah, I agree.
They have elite receivers. They've always had 2 elite receivers on both sides. It was Martavis Bryant and Antonio Brown. Now it's Juju Smith-Schuster and Antonio Brown.
Big Ben's a great quarterback too.
And it allows them to spread out the field and create space for running ability. And I just think that a lot of the credit is getting taken away from him as he's watching his career kind of diminish.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Steelers, they had the Thursday night game against the Panthers. They absolutely dominated the Panthers, scored 52 points in that game, most points ever scored at Heinz Field, which I think is just incredible.
Yeah, Heinz Field is a bad field.
And it's been there for a long time.
The Steelers own that field, though.
Yeah.
When they play there,
that's true. You look at Big Ben last year.
And the Panthers aren't a bad team, so it's like we're talking about they put up 52 points against a team that is currently 6-3. That's insane.
Mm-hmm. The other crazy thing that happened in that game was that Eric Reid hit on Ben Roethlisberger. I think that's was that the first ejection in the regular season from a defensive player?
I think
no, it happened week 1, right? Yeah. With the Bengals or something?
It's not the first ejection from a hit. It might be the second or third, but it was definitely the dirtiest.
Yeah, it was. And I love the fact that his offensive lineman ran down the field and stood up for him.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
That's how it should be.
That's your quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And when a quarterback slides like that, when you slide, that's when you're the most vulnerable.
Absolutely.
And you have a guy diving at you.
And the new rule change with the quarterback slide too, there's no reason for it. As soon as the quarterback starts making effort to slide is when they're down. It's not like they slide 5 yards forward and they get the ball where they were last touched.
Yourself up.
Exactly. So there's absolutely no point for it anymore. I mean, and you still see it, like people diving in on the pile and trying to get that extra hit on it. I'm becoming more on boards with the rules changes. I'm obviously not a fan of them, but you have a job. This is your professional. Like you're your profession. And you have to follow the rules.
The rules are there.
Yeah, and everybody else is following them. I mean, it was just so pointless. And I was happy to see that he got ejected.
Yeah, and I agree. It's like, the rules are there to protect the players and all this stuff. And there's certain rules that I'm not a fan of, I think they kind of take the defenseless receiver rule way too heavily.
Yeah. I've seen them lay back a little bit now just because of the rule changes with the sacks. I do love the fact that it is now, like I was saying with the quarterback, as soon as they give themselves up, because that helps the defense out a lot.
And it adds to your point of them no reason to dive in to make him be down before he actually is, because he's going to be down there.
Yeah. And the NFL doesn't need it. I mean, they don't need
reason.
any more bad publicity when it comes to concussions, and that's all that is bad publicity.
Yeah. But you had the 9-1 teams, the Rams, Chiefs, and Saints continue their win streaks, or not win streaks, their winning seasons. The Rams played the Seahawks. Man, the Seahawks have been in a lot of games this year, man. They're 1-5 in one-score games.
It's a tough division, man. I mean, obviously the 49ers and the Cardinals are irrelevant, but they always play each other well. Russell Wilson is single-handedly keeping that team in games.
Yeah, he's all they have.
They got off to a slow start, but it seemed like they're kind of coming into their own. They're finding out what their offense is, what their system's they want to run, and
they were a quarter of an inch from tying that game against the Chargers the week before. They were a possession away from coming out and tying this game this week. Ball is just not moving in the right direction for them right now, but they're still a good football team. Their defense is actually playing a lot better than I thought they would, especially with the whole Legion of Boom going away. Huge shout out to Pete Carroll. I mean, he's
doing a great job.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of talent on that team. I mean, Doug Baldwin's a great receiver. There's still a lot of question marks with running back. You saw Rashad Penny had his first career 100-yard game.
Happy for him.
Absolutely. It just sucks because that was their first-round pick. So you hate to see that coming in week 10.
Yeah, I mean, he suffered an injury preseason, so...
I mean, but he was active every week. They just weren't utilizing him. Carson was playing well.
Showed up to training camp overweight, right?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, just not what they were looking for. He didn't have the same agility that they saw in college, but I'm very happy for him, but those are the kind of things I'm talking about, whereas Russell Wilson's carrying that team.
He looked good, though. I saw him lean in on some of those tackles, too. He's not afraid to get hit.
Yeah, and the Rams have a really good, front four, and to run for 100 yards against them, that's no, easy task.
Yeah. And then, let's see, the Saints, they win their 7th in a row, 51 points. I thought they were just trying to, top the Steelers. They're like, listen, we're the best team. We want the most points.
They could have scored so much more.
So many more, but that's their 7th win in a row. I thought that was incredible, scoring
They
every
look like
drive.
the best team in football right now.
Absolutely.
They do, yeah. And then the Browns finally get another win. They beat the Falcons. What's going on in Atlanta, man?
Their defense is awful.
It's true.
Simple.
Yeah. They took all those hits early in the season because in that first game against the Eagles, they looked pretty good.
And the Browns' defense is very underrated. They've put a lot of draft picks, a lot of young talent to build that defense. I think the big shout out. I mean, obviously Nick Chubb with the phenomenal game that he had, the 92-yard rush. Baker Mayfield's definitely getting into his own there now. You could see that he's making better decisions. He's not looking to move the ball down the field as much. He's looking to keep possession, keep the ball, keep their defense fresh. Yeah, so I think that was the biggest thing for them is he kept their defense fresh.
It's good to see the Browns kind of their offense start to turn it around and get rolling, like you said, after they fire, Todd Haley, offensive coordinator, and Hugh Jackson, head coach, just to see him get back on track. I
think they win 5 or 6 games this year. They could consider that a definite, a step in the right direction. Is coming off of 1 win last year, right? Or no, they didn't win last year.
Games,
yeah. So, 1 win over the last 2 years. You'll take 5 wins in a season.
And then another team that I just don't understand is the Bills. They beat down on the Jets. That was unpredictable. I don't even know what's going on.
That's just like the NFL this year.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
You just don't know what you're going to get every week. It's like a box of chocolate.
Another upset that I thought was the Titans and the Patriots. But the Titans beat the Patriots. That was kind of another weird win.
A blowout, too.
Yeah.
Like the Patriots were not in that game for the slightest bit.
Well, Mike Vrabel came out before and he said, I have the formula to beat Tom Brady. You just got to keep him flustered. You got to make him move off of his first read to his second read.
He's not wrong, but it's still hard to do.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
it's a very, I think everybody says that, but it's not an easy thing to do.
They made it look easy, though.
Yeah, they did.
They executed it.
I mean, that is a pure game plan victory. That's what that is. When you go out there and they had to execute on offense, which they did, but it wasn't like Tom Brady was turning the ball over. They just couldn't move the ball.
Couldn't do anything. Yeah. Did I miss one?
Yeah, the Chargers.
I don't even think I put it on here.
Exactly.
So
Chargers Raiders.
Well, I didn't think we really needed to talk about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's not okay.
Well, you knew the Chargers were going to mop them up.
Dude, there's no such thing as a sure thing when it comes to the Chargers.
Well,
absolutely no such thing.
The Raiders are pretty bad.
The
Raiders.
Did you guys watch the game at all?
What?
No.
Okay, well, first of all,
I watched Red Zone, and it showed that they were close. I mean,
they were up in the Bay Area where they had all those crazy fires, and so it looked like both teams were moving in slow motion for the first 45 minutes of that game. Because, I mean, essentially you're basically running around with a cigarette in your mouth trying to play football.
Remember when we had the fires over here, man?
Yeah. I mean, it was a sloppy win for the Chargers. I mean, they definitely...
Well, I mean, the first half was sloppy, but then they came out and just mopped
Yeah,
them.
their kicker made both of his field goals, made all of his extra points.
Dude, that's got to feel good.
Yeah, I still can't watch field goals, though. I literally am like hiding under my shirt, like.
This is a really bad year for kickers in general, though. There's a lot of.
I was looking at the stats.
Yeah.
There's only one kicker, and it's Graham Gano from the Panthers who hasn't missed.
It's like, did they change the balls or something? Because even if you watch field goals or extra points, the balls have a weird curve to them now. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. They really hook, and then all of a sudden they like catch a wind and they go in a straight line.
You definitely see it more with the extra points just because it's farther back. But as far as field goals go, it's the same kick, and that's the part that I don't understand.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, are the balls different? Because they look like they fly different or something.
And that's a very valid point, but they have one job in practice. And so you think that, like, from the time that they changed the ball to now that they wouldn't have that figured out? I mean, you sit there and kick. That's it.
I don't know how kickers work.
I think maybe it's the high-flying offenses, there's more kicks that are going up. It just seems like...
Yeah.
Maybe, but even still, if there's more, that should make it easier. You should be able to...
More practice.
Like more practice, more consistency.
It's just like higher sample size, you know?
I guess. Well, we'll move on. The
Jaguars.
Yeah, Jaguars dropped close one to the Colts. I mean,
that division is still open. Well, I mean, the Titans are 6-3 right now. Obviously, atop that division, and they all have to play each other again. So it's not like they're miles and miles ahead of them. It's still it's up for grabs, in my opinion. I think the Jags are done, though.
I was just gonna say the Jags are done.
Because the one thing that they had was their defense, and the freaking Colts moved the ball no problem.
They traded away Dante Fowler Jr. and
he was tearing it up for the Rams this weekend. He had a strip sack, almost returned. Well, I mean, I guess it wasn't almost returned for a touchdown. They called him down, but yeah, I mean, he showed his value a little bit.
Yeah, and then Sunday Night Football, Cowboys beat the Eagles. That Amari Cooper trade looks like it's paying off. What are your thoughts on that?
Not really. It's a high draft pick still.
Yeah.
The only way that it doesn't. The only way is if it's a 16 and under pick for me. If the Cowboys finish around 8-8, then it's a win.
Well, I mean, take away from winners or losers in what they gave up. I just think that it was a good acquisition.
It was a necessity. I don't think there's another receiver out there that they could have gotten.
Yeah.
Did you see that one hit that he shook off and got the first down on third down?
Yeah.
That was... Dude. That's why you traded for Amari Cooper.
He's a running back that plays receiver. He really is. I mean, he moves in space very well, but he needs somebody to play opposite of him, and the Cowboys don't have that.
He's freeing. He's given Zeke some more room to run because he's at least spreading the field a little bit.
Yeah, and Cole Beasley is starting to wake up a little bit too.
Yeah.
I mean...
You just needed. I think they needed somebody who's going to help that offense, kind of grease it a little bit. It is the Eagles whose secondary is a little beat up right now, I think, and so.
Eagles are looking rough right now. I mean, they came back, in that game. They gave themselves an opportunity to win. That's another team that's losing some pretty close ball games. Yeah. They had that one loss against the Panthers where they gave up 17 points in the fourth quarter.
It's tough repeating, man. Everybody's got a target on your head. They want to beat the best.
Yeah, and
they're the champs right now.
I mean, the other thing too is they don't have a running back. I mean, last year they had LeGarrette Blount. They had
that's where
Ajayi.
I did not like their move at the deadline going for Golden Tate. Just seemed like to
me it seemed like they were fine at wide receiver. Alshon Jeffrey, Zach Ertz, Nelson Aguilar.
It just seemed like they had. If anything, you'd want you maybe
LaShawn McCoy, bring LaShawn McCoy back. Yeah. Maybe go after Le'Veon Bell. They definitely are missing the running game for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there was one game that I didn't cover earlier, and I'm just going to touch on it now so last week I had the stat of the day, and it was a little bit of a shitty one. I know it wasn't that good. You guys are making fun of me because we're a sports podcast, blah, blah, blah. But the Chiefs played the Cardinals, and obviously they beat them because the Cardinals are garbage. But the Chiefs, including preseason, have won all 13 coin tosses. That is a 1 in 8,192% chance.
That is insane.
I just thought it was pretty cool. No, Ryan? No thoughts?
That's insane.
Don't give a fuck.
I just don't know where you find these things from.
I would
like,
say,
you throw me so far off guard with them.
I would say, where are
That's
the
what
odds?
a stat of the day is.
That is the odds. You just said it.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Speaking of the Chiefs, though, I mean,
It's
obviously...
fixed. It's a weighted coin. You know that, right?
It's Andy Reid's fault.
It's conspiracy theory.
Right as it hits the ground, he jumps and shakes and flips it over.
Jeez.
Speaking of the Chiefs, though, we have obviously we're meeting on a Tuesday, and we're not going to be meeting, next week until later in the week or so. Chiefs and Rams, Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I was just going to touch on that. They actually had to relocate it. It was supposed to be in Mexico City.
Thank God. Did you see that field?
That field looked pretty awful.
I didn't know it got moved. Brandon just told me today, but I thought, I saw them working on it a little bit, and it just looked like a mud pit.
It looks like Heinz Field after. Well, it looks like Heinz Field after it rains, but it also looked like Heinz Field after Bain demolished it.
Yeah, God. It was. There was players were saying they weren't going to play on it.
I wouldn't, man. I mean, both those teams with the way that they're playing right now. I mean, you cannot lose anybody. I mean, could you?
You're better off losing that game than you are losing some players.
Absolutely. I mean,
they're both focused in the playoffs at this point.
And I mean, the Rams just lost Connor Kupp for the year.
Cooper
Kupp.
I always do that too.
Yeah. And if if you lose, if the Chiefs lose a player like Tyreek Hill on a punt return where he slips, or if the Rams lose a player like Todd Gurley to something stupid, I mean, that basically demolishes your playoff, or not your playoff chance, but your overall chances of succeeding in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reason that both of those teams are so good right now is because they have so many different weapons.
Yeah.
It's going to be an exciting game, though. I don't know who you guys think is going to win that one, but...
Well, I hope the Chiefs win. I just want the Chiefs to win. Nothing against you and the Chargers. I want the Chiefs to win so that the Rams don't clinch the playoffs and start throttling it down on Todd Gurley, because it's my fantasy team, and I need him to keep working, being that workhorse.
So you said you hope that they win, but do you think that they're going to win?
It's honestly a toss-up for me. I
feel the same way.
I think both teams have a good fighting chance of winning this.
They're both kind of on the down.
The only reason why I say the Rams are going to win it now is because they have it at home.
They don't have home field advantage, though.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call it home field advantage, but I wouldn't call it not home field advantage. I'd call it a comfortability.
It would be
your stadium.
Well, actually, I don't know. Kansas City fills up.
They travel
so
really well.
It's true.
So I mean, it's going to be loud for the Chiefs.
It'd be better off being there though than in Kansas City, because I would certainly give it to Kansas City if it was.
Yeah.
It bums me out that you guys don't watch football as much anymore, because to me, this game is going to come down to the offensive and defensive lines, and the Rams are far superior on both sides of the ball with both of those. I mean, I watched Patrick Mahomes getting his ass beat up by the Cardinals defense, who Calais Campbell's an amazing defensive end. But, I mean, it was just dumb. They were, bull rushing him. He was getting knocked all around the game. I mean, a team that they probably should have beat by 50, there was one turnover that Josh Rosen made, changed the whole complexion of the game, and then the Chiefs won by 2 touchdowns.
It seems like the Rams have been getting a little loose with their play calls. Like, I feel like there's plays that they should be,
the Rams and the Chiefs, man.
They should be taking the sure first down, and they go for like the home run threat randomly, and you're like, why are you going for that play on third down when you should be trying to get the first down right here?
Both of these teams, to me right now, like you said like a minute ago, are kind of on the decline, and they're still winning, but they're not winning the way that they should. And
that they were earlier in the
Exactly.
year.
And, I mean, to be in a close game with the Seahawks the way that the Rams were, obviously a division game, it's hard to win those games. But, again, bad play calling, trying to do too much. And, again, with the Chiefs, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is I've compared him to Brett Favre before. He's looking, for the big plays down the field. And they're completely taking Kareem Hunt out of the game. And I don't understand it. To be able to continue to win is all about game management. And both of them are giving way too many opportunities to Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes. And those are, it should be a shootout.
Yeah,
it will be a shootout.
I give a slight edge to the Rams just because of Donald, Brockers, and Sue. That's my biggest reason.
They have more, playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. the Rams do.
And nothing against the Chiefs. I mean, they've played situational defense. So if this is a high-scoring game, the Chiefs are definitely going to have an opportunity. I just watched Aaron Donald just destroy the Seahawks offensive line last week. And so, I mean...
Yeah, but
I don't think
also, I mean, is the Seahawks offensive line, I don't think that's
they're not
saying
great.
A whole lot.
No, they're not great. But I just think that Mahomes hasn't played anybody like that this year. I mean, when the Chargers played them earlier in the year, they were out Joey Bosa. And now he's going against two dudes coming in the center that are just beasts.
Yeah, I will say this is going to be the Chiefs' toughest matchup, but I wouldn't say this is the Rams' toughest matchup. I think that when the Rams played the Saints, that was their
I think the NFC is
matchup,
superior to the AFC this year.
I would agree very much.
All right, well, let's move over into some baseball real quick. All right, let's start off with Rookie of the Year. So in the AL, we had Shohei Ohtani. I thought at first when I heard it, I was like, I don't think he was deserving, or I don't think it should have gone to him. I think there was a lot of other
just because
phenomenal
he had the injury.
And he had the injury. But then I saw he had 20-plus home runs and threw for 50-plus innings. Was the only other player besides Babe Ruth to do that, and I thought that was an incredible
It's a cool
feat.
stat.
No, it's I'm with you initially.
Yeah.
The thought is that one of the guys from the Yankees should have gotten it, either Andujar or Torres. Torres definitely.
I thought Gleyber Torres.
Yeah.
I thought Torres, but he had an injury too. He was out for
a decent amount of time.
games,
But I thought Torres contributed more to a team that actually
exactly.
Yeah.
was winning. But
Well, Ohtani, I mean, I think everybody forgot that he was playing still. He was still DHing after he hurt his arm. So I think that's where a lot of his popularity started to fall off a bit because of that. People weren't seeing him pitching one day and then hitting a home run the next day like we saw at the beginning of the year. Yeah. He's got a bright future ahead of him. I don't know if he's going to be able to do both forever, though. It's a lot.
He's certainly, I think he's not going to be stable in the rotation.
I don't think it's necessary. Arms are a dime a dozen nowadays, and I think you're seeing that with the way free agency works now and the way that they're calling up some of these young arms. I mean, if he wants to be a pitcher, do your Tommy John surgery, get your arm right, you'll come back throwing harder and hopefully have a long career. But, I mean, he's got one of the prettiest swings I've ever seen.
He does.
And
he knows
they need that in that lineup, man. They need it bad.
I agree with you that arms are a dime a dozen, and even nowadays when you have these situational pitchers in different,
Absolutely.
You have relievers come in for 1 inning, inning and a half, whatever. He could be one of those
Starting
guys.
pitchers are going like 5 innings. It just doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like they're valuing pitchers as much because of the amount of stress that they're putting on their arms, the amount of, statistics that go into analyzing each game. Where it's like, all right, well, even though you haven't given up any runs, we're going to move to a lefty because the next 3 batters are statistically bad against lefties. And that's how the game's going, and that's fine. I'm good with it. It just seems to me like you can't do both forever. And stay healthy.
Yeah, and stay healthy, exactly. And then in the National League, we had Ronald Acuna Jr. with 26 home runs, 64 RBIs. I think it went to the right person.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Soto with the Nationals was another player that I thought was deserving, but just Acuna was tearing it up.
And Walker Buehler was a stud, too.
Walker Buehler was. I think with the Braves, though, nobody pictured them as a playoff team this year, and I wouldn't say, it's baseball. Nobody can single-handedly put their team in the playoffs, but
definitely
he had such a huge impact on that team this year.
We see that every year with Mike Trout.
I know.
That's the definition.
I know.
Yeah. But, we'll see. When do the rest of the awards come out? Did they all come out at time?
They already did the Gold Glove. Silver Slugger came out.
I think we're just waiting on Cy Young and MVP, and those should be coming out. Next couple weeks.
I think it was the A's coach of the year.
Yeah.
It was like
deservingly so.
Yeah. But as we move into the off season, there's going to be a lot of moves. Still, we're on the Harper and Machado watch, seeing where those 2 big names go.
Still a huge toss-up.
Yeah.
It's still early. I don't see them signing till next year, personally.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to go early.
The winter meetings always gets shuffled up with some stuff.
I think last year was just very slow because of the amount of free agents that are going to be on the market this year. You look at players like Chris Sale, who's a free agent now, Bryce Harper, obviously, Manny Machado, Dallas
Keuchel
from the Astros, another guy. There's a ton of them, so I don't know because the amount of big names out there, it seems like people are going to want to get them off their books so they can figure out where else to spend money.
Yeah.
Because it's big contracts. I mean, Eric Hosmer was somebody that people were back and forth on because it was like, all right, we could sign Eric Hosmer this year, or we could try to sign Bryce Harper next year.
Yeah.
That was the big thought,
Yeah. But before the winter meetings come up, we have the GM meetings. That was last Wednesday. AJ Preller came out. He said they're looking for, or outfielders and catchers are up for trade. So that would be, I think Renfroe is a big name that we've been talking about.
Franmil
Reyes, another one.
Franchi.
I think Austin Hedges.
I think they said Franchi and Margot are hands off.
Good. I like Franchi, so that's good. But we don't have a whole lot of lefty power bats in our lineup, so
I think that's the reason. Because Reyes and Renfroe are.
I like Reyes, but he's just so freaking slow.
I think Renfroe's got more upside because I think what you're seeing with Reyes is pretty much. I mean, he's improved incredibly.
He reminds me of that other dude, Josh or Blanks.
Kyle Blanks.
Is that who it was? The big dude.
Yeah, Kyle Blanks, who hit that almost 500-foot home run.
Yeah, he's a one-trick pony though. It's like that's all they got. He hit the ball far.
Yeah. Well, he can walk at a decent clip, which is something the Padres severely need.
I'm just not ready for him to give up on Renfroe now. It's just so funny.
I don't
when
want
we started this. We were all like, "Oh, Renfroe, he's got to go," and it's like, "Damn it!"
Now I want him.
Yeah,
well, I feel like the second we trade Renfroe, he's going to be a star for another team, and
he's already looking like he's on the rise, man. And don't forget, he has a cannon from right field.
He does have a cannon. That's why I pick him over Reyes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I just think that there's more value. The only way that I'm okay with this, there's a third baseman for the Reds.
Yeah, that's who they've been tied to. So.
And what's his name again?
Is Eugenio Suarez.
That's right. I can't ever figure out how to pronounce that.
Soft J.
Suarez, yeah. So that would be the only person that I would be okay with him packaging a deal for.
I don't even know if I would want to swing a deal for him personally, but
I mean, he's been consistent in the last 3 years. He's been 20+ home runs. He's been batting over 300. I mean, it's hard though because those are players that come to San Diego and then they bat 250 and hit 18 home runs.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I would rather swing a deal for one of our outfielders for a starting pitcher.
Yeah, I'm not against that at all. We definitely need a starting pitcher in that rotation, like a front of the line ace. I'm
willing to package several prospects for a controllable ace starter.
Out of our big name prospects, let's we'll throw in a couple of names out there. Like if Chris Bryant was available, which I don't think that's gonna happen, or if somebody like who's another big pitcher that's gonna be on the trade market,
Jacob
DeGrom.
I would swing some of our. I agree with Preller. I would not trade either of our top two. I'm not trading Tatis. I'm not trading Gore for anything.
Okay.
Anything outside of Mike Trout, and even then that would be
that'd be
And I think even with that, maybe Gore in that situation, but definitely not Tatis because we need a shortstop.
That too. Well, you want an ace too, but still, I would
so
be
on that prospect list. Do you put Mejia and Urias still, or you keeping them up?
I would be willing to trade Mejia.
Yeah,
I would definitely be willing to trade Chris Paddock, who's really on the rise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of those outfielders that I would be willing to trade. If I package those three up, I feel like it's a fair offer.
Absolutely.
For what's his name?
I'm not willing to give up Urias though. He's got a solid glove, and I mean they need a dynamic duo, a shortstop and second base.
Yeah. And those guys are going to be patrolling it for the next 10 years.
Yeah, and I just think that with Urias, I mean, there's not another second baseman coming up behind him that we have we have a loaded outfield right now. We have a ton of starting pitching prospects. With Urias, it's more of if I obviously agree, Tatis and Gore are hands off, top two prospects, and I'm putting Urias there. He might not be the number 3 prospect, but to me, he's more valuable than a lot of the other ones. Because again, arms are a dime a dozen. So we just drafted another first rounder. Obviously, he's a high school guy, so he's not going to be around for a little while. But it seems like every year we're drafting pitching prospects.
Yeah, I have the top 10 Padres prospects here, and 7 of the 10 are pitchers. So, tons of young talent.
They're all in the lower minors, so it's going to be a year or two for them until they're up. But
yeah, and we talked about, we always talk about how the Padres have a logjam in the outfield, but it's starting to be at the catching position as well. You have Hedges, Mejia, and that kid Austin Allen that's coming up too. Yeah. He's supposed to be challenging for playing time.
Austin Allen's a guy that I've been excited about for a while.
I like Austin Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Hedges, the bat's inconsistent. The glove is phenomenal. And
then it's the inverse with Mejia. The bat's phenomenal.
By the way, did you guys see the AA name, the new AA name for the Padres?
Yeah, it's stupid.
No, I sent you the finalist list, and
I was gonna send it to you, but I was like, I don't know.
And then I was like, are you serious? We have to pick between these stupid names. These are the finalists. These are the names that you came up with. I know.
What are the names?
We've had. Names. Well, I don't have the list in front of me, but I can tell you which one was selected.
What was selected?
And we are. It's going to be the AA affiliate Sod Poodles.
What is that?
I don't even know. But
a sod poodle?
Yeah,
it sounds like a sad poodle. Is what it sounds like.
Yeah, like you just have an accent.
It's just
that's a sod poodle.
Just like, is this the best you could come up with? I don't know. This seemed pretty sad.
That is sad. That's that would, if anything, that would make me want to get out of AA as fast as I can. So that'd make me want to play better.
Maybe that's the idea.
That's what they're doing. So yeah, it'll just be interesting to see what the Padres do. What new moves they're gonna make, and then obviously the Yankees came out. They said that Sonny Gray is gonna be their top piece that they're trying to trade. They also put Miguel Andujar on the block. I thought that was interesting, especially after the season he had. I only think that they put him up there if they go after Machado.
They're doing
100%. That's what it's all about.
I know you don't want him, but they're doing it.
Going after getting him.
Machado's it's just
you might as well put pinstripes on him, right? In my opinion, I think Bryce Harper's the only question mark.
Yeah. I still think they're getting both of them.
I mean, I'm not that's definitely a possibility. I just think that Machado might as well already be in pinstripes.
Yeah, and
Harper's going to have more of a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be interesting. Like you said, possibly moving him to first base would make most sense for him. But yeah, Machado is almost a guarantee for me.
And the other one with the Yankees moving Sonny Gray, I really hope the Padres don't go after him. I've seen him just be terrible for the Yankees.
The only thing is that Petco Park is definitely a pitcher's park, so he might not be bad for the Padres. The only thing is, like, when you're talking about trading, it's like if there's one of those top 10 prospects on that thing, no, not for Sonny Gray.
No, I wouldn't give. I don't even know what his salary situation is like, but I don't think he's on a team-friendly contract.
No.
So they would pretty much be willing to shed him for just about nothing, and we just would have to be willing to take on the contract. It was like when we flipped Jabari Blash for Chase Headley straight up, and we got the prospect attached to it.
Think about this one, though. Austin Hedges for Sonny Gray.
Oh, hell no.
No. I'm thinking about, like, not from a fan standpoint, but from a standpoint where the Yankees need a defensive catcher because Gary Sanchez is crap, and the Padres are going to reach for a starting pitcher.
Oh, no, that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
But it's definitely
no, but like that's definitely a possibility. Like they could almost 1-for-1 that with cash.
Yeah.
And that would definitely be a move the Padres would make.
I would cry.
Well, like, think about it. That would be them solidifying to Austin Allen and Francisco Mejia. I mean, it just like, obviously from a fan standpoint, I don't want that, but it definitely seems like something the Padres would do.
It seems like the Padres are more defensively metric driven, so they're getting all these guys who won Gold Gloves. You got Eric Hosmer. You got the only one I feel like they kind of reached on would be Will Myers, I guess, but that was definitely on a buying spree.
Well, I mean,
when
his
got
third
Will
base
Myers.
is elite. If you ever seen him,
yeah,
he's an elite third baseman.
Oh yeah,
I thought he was just like to take balls to the face.
That's the one.
Well, yeah, it'll be interesting. The winter meetings are coming up December 9th, so there'll be a lot of moves, and we'll have to report on those. But move over to some NBA news. The big headline was Jimmy Butler getting traded to Philadelphia. I know I'm not a big NBA guy, but that definitely makes Philadelphia look a lot more intense or more challenging.
I don't think so.
Definitely. Well, I think on paper it does.
It does, but I mean, I think Dario Saric and Robert Covington were massive pieces for that team's success last year. So Jimmy Butler's got huge shoes to fill.
I agree.
Their starting lineup's better now, but their depth is not.
Depth's not as
both of them were starting for him, Sarge and Covington. Covington's like your prototypical 3-and-D guy who can just light it up from deep.
And that's something that they need desperately because, I mean, Embiid is a rebound machine. Simmons is not a elite scorer yet. He's more of a facilitator.
Mm-hmm.
Markelle Fultz is trash.
But they have a finisher now. And Jimmy Butler is a guy in the fourth quarter, you give him the ball, he's going to win that game for you.
Yeah.
They finally have that, and I didn't think they had that before. I like Embiid, but I don't know if he's necessarily a finisher.
I think that it was a necessity for that reason too, but also because you're going to have to pay Dario soon, and Robert Covington is also...
But they signed him. He's on a very team-friendly contract.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, I honestly, I think the Timberwolves scored pretty well on this trade. I'm actually surprised that which is crazy. I guess on Reddit, somebody posed this trade like a month ago. Like this exact trade, and it worked to fruition with the small pieces, Jared Bayless and second-round pick.
And when I say depth, too, I just mean the ability to maneuver your starting lineup, the ability to maneuver your, minutes per player as they're on the court. If you always have a star in or if you always have an elite player in. I mean, not saying that Saric or Covington are elite, but they definitely helped the bench players out when they were out there.
I like that. Honestly, on paper, I think this is a great move for the 76ers, but I will say Jimmy Butler with a young, fragile mind and Markelle Fultz, who's really timid on his shot. He doesn't look like he's putting in the work, or I don't know what it is. Maybe he is putting in the work, but his shot looks awful. And you just saw him try to shoot a free throw, and he looked like he
hesitated.
He looked like he pumped fake, but apparently the ball slipped off his hand, hit him in the face, and it bounced off, and that's why he double clutched it.
Yeah, he looks like a mess, man. I mean, he was the number one overall
and you
pick.
Gave up another first-round pick to move up from 3-1 or 2-1. So they could have had Jason Tatum there. Instead,
and then this would have made the whole trade irrelevant.
Yeah.
And they would have still had a first-round pick, which they're still doing well in draft picks. But
I mean, if you look at what they're competing with out east, they need more. They need a finisher, like you're saying. They got to go up against the Celtics. They got to go up against the Raptors.
Celtics are struggling. Bucks look good.
Sorry, and the Bucks are the other one out there. So you definitely need somebody
Lopez,
to finish.
Man, that guy can stroke you from deep right now. He had 8 3-pointers the other day. He had 6 against the Clippers, and 4 of them on straight possessions, like one right after the other, 4 in a row.
That's crazy.
And then Brandon, your Clippers, early season, man, they're looking real good. Back-to-back overtime wins,
dude. The impressive part about this is, they're playing 13 games. They played 13 games up to this point. They play the Spurs on Thursday, and 12 of the 14 teams they played were in the playoffs last year, and one of them was the Denver Nuggets, who missed it by a game. So they've played really good teams this year, and they're already 8-5. They just beat the Warriors in overtime. Before that, they beat the Bucks, who were tops in the power rankings the week before, in overtime.
Yeah, they're looking. They're
looking 2-0
good.
against the 2-0 against the Rockets. I mean, they've done a great job up to this point. It's been team ball. That's one of the things I like about this team. Like you were just saying with the 76ers, spread the offense out evenly, keep everyone happy, keep everyone involved, and good things are going to happen.
It's funny though. Like as soon as you mention the Clippers, Brandon just goes.
Oh,
goes.
Yeah.
I feel like we could probably just walk out and he would still be talking.
Oh yeah,
you could
do anything. He just talk to himself. He would just yeah. He knows that it's a podcast is being recorded. He's like, somebody will listen to me.
Who cares? Somebody's got to listen.
The Clippers are looking great. Ironically, though, like I was just telling Brandon, the other team in LA is getting hot now, starting to figure out some of their identity.
Yeah.
Only one game back from the Clippers.
Hey.
Won 3 in a row. Yeah. That's I mean, obviously they have a huge amount of work to do still as a team.
Defensively, that's been their problem.
Josh Hart's looked great though.
He's their shooter. That going into the season, I really didn't think they had an outside shooter, and he's pretty much been that guy for them.
Yeah, and I think that Magic knew that his game was progressing last year too, and you saw a lot of it. He just didn't have the amount of opportunities that he's getting now. And the biggest part of it is he's earning LeBron's trust. And you see it now, when he sees Josh Hart out there at the three-point line, he's looking for him. And those are the kind of things that help LeBron and the team that he's on succeed. And it was the same thing with Kyle Korver. It was the same thing with J.R. Smith. Once he kind of figures out who he's getting the ball to, because at first, he's playing with guys that he hasn't played before. So he's giving the ball to Lonzo. He's giving the ball to Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram's obviously playing well. But now you see Kuzma and Josh Hart definitely getting the majority of the shots up, which is helping them win more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
And also, JaVale McGee is playing phenomenal,
JaVale
too.
McGee's this is the best season of his career.
Yeah, he's playing phenomenal.
Long shot.
And, I mean, it's been a long time since LeBron's actually played with a true center, and it's helping his game out a lot. It'll probably allow him to play longer if JaVale McGee ends up staying
who
with the team.
hasn't really been making the impact I thought he would was Rondo. I thought Rondo would be getting it going a little bit
It's
more.
hard. LeBron's the facilitator, man.
Yeah.
And that's kind of Rondo's position.
Yeah, and
always.
That's his only thing.
It just seemed like, why did you bring him on then? I don't know.
I think that it's a move that they make. For one, I think the biggest reason is to hurt the Pelicans.
That really hurt the Pelicans.
And it did. It also, I mean, I'm not sure what they thought they were going to get from LeBron mixing in with all these younger guys. Like you said, Kuzma, he's a stretch 3 or 4 guy.
Mm-hmm.
He has the ability to shoot the outside shot. So I think that a lot of it is probably to help Lonzo.
That's what I was going to say. It's more of like a basketball IQ thing to try to mentor.
Yeah, because Lonzo's not shooting the ball great, but he does facilitate the ball well. And if that's going to be his game, that's fine. I mean, number 2 overall pick, I think you expect him to be more of a shooter, but
you want him to be more well-rounded, but you'll take another Rondo.
And the other thing too is, I mean, Rondo plays great defensively, and if he can
so does Lonzo.
Yeah, and so if he can help teach Lonzo his 2 best attributes,
they're kind of the same player, to be honest.
No, totally.
Lonzo
I mean,
and
I think you just look at Lonzo as a
Ricky Rubio.
Yeah, if you look at Lonzo as a 6'6" point guard, you expect him to be a guy that can score 30 points a game, but it's not his game, and it's never been his game. So I think the Rondo, like I said, hurting the Pelicans, teaching Lonzo how to master his craft.
Yeah. I was just going to fill this in there. I didn't put it on you guys' notes, but do you guys see that Karis LeVert injury?
Oh, I was going to bring that up too.
But did you see that he only dislocated his foot?
That's what they say. Yeah, it's not going to require surgery.
That guy
he lucked out so hard,
dude,
man.
That injury looked so gross.
It looked like the Paul George injury, or
Gordon
Hayward injury.
Yeah. That's what I thought too.
Gordon Hayward's definitely looked worse, but still,
it was but it was on the same a gruesome oh my god.
You know what what was really sad about it is the Nets have been playing really good basketball right now, and Karis LeVert's been carrying that team. He's their number 1 guy right now.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say the look on D Rose's face.
Well, he was
I've been there.
I heard this on the radio. So Derrick Rose was at Paul George's game when he broke his leg. He was at Gordon Hayward's game when he broke his leg.
Oh God!
And now he's had both of his injuries. It just almost seems like it's
dude needs to throw some pepper over his back or some salt.
It's almost like
back,
it's just
it's
like God sending a message to him, like, "Hey, you probably shouldn't be playing anymore.
It's time for you to step away."
Yes, he's got 3 tears.
Look what's going to happen to you if you continue this.
Oh man, jeez.
That's an insane. What are the odds, though?
Yeah, the guy got so lucky. I mean. Yeah,
I don't know if you get lucky in that, but are you talking about Karis LeVert or Derrick Rose?
No, not Derrick Rose. Yeah, it's crazy that Derrick Rose has been there for all of those.
They're saying he might come back by the end of the year, though. Karis LeVert
still look disgusting. The NHL big thing I wanted to mention was just Tom Wilson for the Capitals. His suspension got reduced to 14 games, so he came back tonight, scored a goal. They ended up winning. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Fourth suspension in a calendar year, though. So,
damn,
guy likes to hit. What's
the penalty if you have that many repeated offenses, though?
Well, they just kind of increase the amount of games to try to warn you. But it's hard because the game of hockey has changed so much. The Islanders are one of the biggest, a big defensive team, and they've always been kind of brash. They haven't had one fight this whole season.
Wow.
It's kind of like the league's changing, the way hockey's going. So the Capitals, I mean, they know how to hit. That's the thing. They're a lot of big bodies. They skate fast. So
that's what you'd like to see, though, the big hits.
Yeah, Wilson just hits hard.
You don't see that in the NFL anymore.
No.
Is that the reason why you like NHL more?
Probably. Probably is. I don't know. I can't tell you how many times I've just sat at my desk and watched hockey fights. They're one of my favorite things to watch. Oh, but
that sounds so barbaric. You're like, I just want to see somebody just get beaten.
It's not beaten. It's like a skill thing. I don't know.
It's a skill thing. Just fun. Getting into a fight.
Fight on skates.
I don't know.
It doesn't do anything for me.
I don't know. I enjoy it.
I just like something about watching grown men fight. It's like, really? This is what we've been taught not to do our entire life?
Yeah, I see the value in it, but it's definitely, I don't have any ties, so it's hard for me to get into it. No, that's what I mean.
I've seen how it can change the complexion of a hockey game.
Well, in hockey, it's different, too, because fighting can actually be a huge like momentum shift and like that's a game changer. It's kind of like I wouldn't say like a play, but it's kind of like a move that you can make to kind of get your team. It
just always cracks me up because it's like you're gonna get in a fight, both of you guys are gonna go sit in the box.
Well, it's really funny because a lot of the time the guys get into fights and it's like beforehand they're like, "Hey, do you want to go?" Like it's a real cordial kind of invitation of like, "Do you want to fight?" And it's like, "Yeah, let's do it."
It's a show.
So like, how are you able to fight and not get in trouble?
No, you get in trouble.
You get in trouble every time.
But like
they just go in the penalty box.
Well,
it's an expectation.
You go in the penalty box, but you don't get like suspended or
no, it's an expectation.
No, I mean,
but that's what I'm saying. So like, what is the parameters behind it? So I mean, if you take your skate off and try to stab the guy, I'm sure you're going to.
You go to jail.
You're going to jail, but like I'm saying, if you go step over,
it's like a respect thing. Like it's really
not
more
an issue in hockey because they never cross the line.
Yeah,
it's just
like occasionally they'll get guys that'll slash or hit somebody with their stick. And those guys just know that they have a target on their chest coming up. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that.
That's awesome. That's like the best part of it.
Yeah.
Your guys got your back and you're like, well, we're going to mess you up.
Well, that's the part I like about the start of the fight too, is because usually it happens where somebody's coming across the ice or they're up against the boards and they just get bodied. And it's, as a friend, like if I saw one of you guys just get taken down, it's like, I'm going to go get that guy because that wasn't cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if somebody just ran by and like checked you guys into a wall, it'd be like, "What the hell was that?"
Well,
and Sarah would be like, "Dang!"
Yeah.
I feel like that's what builds the camaraderie and
exactly
on a team. Is the fights.
Yeah, it makes it more of a family thing too. I don't know, or it's just like how an offensive lineman goes after the guy, like after Eric Reid after he hit Ben Roethlisberger. It's like you want to see him standing up for protecting.
Yeah, but in the NFL, he can't really do anything about it.
Yeah,
he just.
Well, just the fact he ran up and
in hockey, you could actually really do something to get his buddies back.
Get him back.
The other one's kind of more of like a symbolic gesture. You're like, all right, I'm going to take this one for you.
Yeah, it's kind of the same. I'm going to take this one for you. I don't know.
You're going to actually like body him up and bash him into the wall or something. I don't know.
Oh, but Ryan, you had our stat of the day this week.
Stat of the day, dabba-dooba-doo, stat of the day, dat of the day. Here comes that what? Stat of the day. Bop!
Give it to us.
It's a 3-part stat. This is a shout out to Nathan Peterman.
All right.
Retiring hopefully from the game of football.
The GOAT.
The GOAT of
anti-GOAT.
So this is just basically the records or accolades that he's received throughout his career.
All right.
Aaron Rodgers could throw 1,240 consecutive interceptions on 1,240 straight pass attempts and still have a better career TD to interception ratio than Nathan Peterman.
Jesus, what was that number?
How many?
1,240.
1,240 interceptions?
Straight.
Holy. Wow.
Yeah.
And it'd have to be on consecutive passes. You can't have like incompletions tied in between.
Mm-hmm. And still have a better TD to interception ratio. So that's part 1.
Jesus Christ.
Nathan Peterman once threw 3 interceptions and 0 touchdowns in a game, and his passer rating went up from 20.8 to 30.7. He threw 3 interceptions and his passer rating went up.
Oh my God.
So that's 2. Last one here. Nathan Peterman finishes his tenure with the Bills having a lower QB rating than if he simply spiked the ball straight into the ground on every single play of his career.
Wait, say that again?
Oh my God.
Nathan Peterman finishes his tenure with the Bills having a lower QB rating than if he simply spiked the ball straight into the ground on every single pass attempt in his career.
God.
Those are so bad.
Dude, those are so bad.
And they're all so great at the same time. I
It's
don't even know which one I like best.
I feel bad for him.
Out of the ones I like best, I like the spike one the best.
Yeah, I think that one's the best
That's
one,
the
too.
one I like the best. Because one, in my head, I'm envisioning him just like redoing his career and just doing that every time, and you're like, what the hell is this guy doing?
And it's like
It's like the Madden
Well,
glitch.
Oh, I guess it's better than what could have happened.
I mean, and mind you, he started his career off when he played the Chargers and he threw 5 interceptions in the game. You think that he would think, like, maybe I should start throwing the ball away a little bit more.
Or you'd think, maybe I should watch more game film.
I honestly, I can't believe how long of a leash this dude got.
It's kind of messed up. It's kind of messed up from an offensive coordinator point of view too, because it's like, you know, this guy isn't good throwing it anywhere besides straight down into the ground, like you said, if he spiked it. But it's like, there's got to be an outlet.
Well, and I think the
You
part
gotta be
that
able to
cracks
swing
me
it.
up about it the most is the fact that they sat Tyrod Taylor for him last year.
Well, the worst part is they probably would win games if he did just spike the ball and his defense
let
the defense get some defensive scores.
Dude, their defense is not bad.
That's what I'm saying.
They've got
They
some
have a
good
solid
players.
Might get like a
defense.
kick return for a touchdown or something.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bills are like the ultimate winning a game 7-6 type team. So, I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
Dude, that
Like,
is...
hey, we're gonna punt it here, guys. I'm just gonna.
It's first down, coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah. We got the lead right now. We're playing field position.
All
Let's
we
go.
have is Peterman.
Yeah.
Get out there and kneel it. Just soak up the clock.
Dude, no, it's
Dude.
bad. I mean, again, I don't like condone bashing people. You know, they're all professionals, and it does suck. I mean, this guy's career ended.
It's hard to think that guy is a professional.
He
though.
got drafted.
That's the hard part. It's like
There's quarterbacks out there that didn't get drafted.
it's like where did he go right?
No,
You know
where
what I
did he
mean?
go wrong is where I'm thinking. I'm like, if you were good enough to get drafted,
Like what happened? Yeah.
what happened to you to make you so bad?
Because there's been players that have been put on much shorter leashes. I mean, gosh, Tim Tebow. I know we bring it up every time.
Tyrod
Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, the list is infinite. I mean, there's so many people out there.
Fitzpatrick earlier this year.
Gosh,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll even go back as far as like Josh Freeman, the quarterback for the Bucks,
Oh,
Mike
God, I forgot
Glennon,
about him.
Jake Locker, like people's that career ended a lot shorter than it could have if they were just given another opportunity. Obviously, Jake Locker, he retired, but there were so many players. I mean, I can keep going. Christian Ponder, those were all players that were drafted, and
I thought Ponder had a pretty decent leash, though.
I mean, he obviously wasn't nearly
Who
as
was
bad
the-
as Peterman.
He was like the backup to the Patriots before Garoppolo. Castle. Yeah.
Matt Castle.
Yeah,
Castle.
I mean,
It's
Matt
like-
Castle. I mean, he took the Chiefs to the playoffs. I mean,
Brian Hoyer.
there's like, dude, it's insane. Like, and a lot of those guys continued on with their career, went on to be backup quarterbacks elsewhere. But you just don't see a lot of people going and having that many bad games. Johnny Manziel.
Dude,
Gosh, I mean, I know he's a total head case and he's probably drunk somewhere right now, but like, don't tell me that
Dude,
Johnny Manziel
Peterman.
or the big one out there, Colin Kaepernick, should not be like the quarterback of the Bills right now.
Or hell, I mean, even Romo said that he's willing to come back.
I don't think Romo's coming back unless
I think Romo has a calling right now, and it's in Dallas as an offensive coordinator.
I agree.
I think he's got such an amazing football mind. I feel like Jerry Jones is like on the phone with him, like, all right, if we lose like 3 straight, I'll fire Garrett. Like, it's your job next year.
Yeah.
I mean, I would take him as an offensive coordinator.
When you see him dissect the defense,
Oh, it's
like it's awesome.
He's
to
a
watch.
brilliant football mind.
It's
he
awesome
really
to watch because you hear it and it literally breaks down exactly like he says.
So that's the thing, right?
I bet you he studies a film.
You said how talented he is in as an offensive mind.
Yeah.
And the way he stepped into the booth and he could dissect a play like that from that far away, and it made you could read it, made it look so easy as if every player sees the field like that. And then you see Jason Witten up there in the booth. He has no idea what the fuck's going on.
Well, he's a tight end, but
still, you'd think you'd be able to read linebackers at least then.
Well, and I think the best offensive player is somebody that can read defenses. And so, I mean, that's why it's funny to me that people were like, "Oh, I'm so tired of Tony Romo like calling the play before it happens." Like, I'm freaking impressed because he's not wrong.
I love hearing it.
And then even if he is wrong on like a specific detail, I mean, he's like, "Oh, well, I see that because this guy broke down over here, play extended it that way," and it's like, yeah.
That's
what
exactly what happened.
Well, he's not going to get it right every time.
I think that he needs to get out of the booth and get back onto the field. But I mean, I like Tony Romo as a player. I think he had a lot of bad rap going for him. People talked a ton of shit.
Well, just because he had that fumble in the playoffs.
He did a lot of dumb stuff.
Yeah, he blew a lot of big games for them.
But he also like had a ton of fourth quarter comebacks. He broke a ton of Dallas Cowboy records. And that kind of goes overshadowed.
You just have a lot of drama in Dallas. That's just how it comes.
Yeah. It's Jerry's world, man. We're all just living it.
Yeah. Well, those are some really good Peterman stats, Ryan.
Thank you.
I enjoyed those.
I'll be here all week.
Again, we are the Three Amigos and a Podcast. This was episode 23, The GOAT. If you want to get in contact with us, Instagram, Twitter, at the number 3amigos_and_a_pod. Check out our website, 3amigosandapodcast.wordpress.com. Send us an email, 3amigosandapodcast@gmail.com. We're here. Anything you want to hear, anything we missed, let us know. Again, listen to us anywhere you listen to podcasts. We will be back next week. If not, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Later.
See ya.